Hello everyone, we have come to the end of our experiment of using the 4 different types of bottom fishing methods. In this video, we'll do a comparison based on their ease of use, presentation, the varieties of fish that each method can target, and lastly, the cost. We shall start with Apollo fishing. Apollo rig is very easy to use and very easy to set hook. We will give it a 5-point rating, if not for that it is time consuming to prepare because it contains the most number of knots. More knots means there's more points of failure, especially for this particular knot which joins the hook leader to the main leader. So for this, we'll only give it 4 points. Presentation wise, the bait sometimes can be too close to the sinker or too close to the main leader. This will spook off cautious fish. And also when the current is strong, the bait will be flapping too fast and you act unnatural. So for this, the presentation is only 3 points. This rig can be used to target any types of bottom fish, including pelagic species such as queenfish. So it has a wide variety of fish to target. For this, we'll give it a full 5 points rating. And as for the cost, Apollo rig is the cheapest among the 4 methods. It is made out of leader, hook and a sinker. It will cost like maybe less than $1. So for this, we have to give it a full 5 points. Overall, Apollo fishing is the most universal fishing rig. It is perfect for beginners to start off with. You just have to keep practicing the knots to make sure that when a big fish takes your bait, you'll be able to land it. It is also very cheap, so you'll not feel so painful here if you lost your rig to corals or rocks, which happens very frequently to inexperienced anglers. Now let's look at Tenya fishing. Tenya is very effective for bottom fish, whether the size is big or small. But then the rod has to be very sensitive and the line has to be very thin, so that the angler can have a very precise hook set. Otherwise, the fish will get away with a free meal. So for this, the ease of use is only 2 points. Tenya's presentation is very good. There is minimal number of knots and terminal tackle to set up the rig. So for this, we'll give it 4 points. 1 point is deducted because for Tenya, very commonly we can only use it for live prawns. For the varieties of fish, it can target mainly bottom fish. It is not so effective for pelagics because the method of using it is keep on knocking on the seabed. So for this, we can only give it 3 points for the varieties of fish it can target. And lastly, for the cost, Tenya is not cheap. The cheapest one you can find is maybe in the range of $7 to $8 a piece. And for the Japanese brand, where the hook is of a higher quality and the hook is bent at so-called optimum angle, it is even more expensive. So for this, the cost is only 2 points. Overall, Tenya can outfish all the other methods in terms of quantity. But then, it requires the angler to have a very sensitive touch and very fast reaction, and also lots of experience from the angler to really bring out the beauty of this fishing technique. Next, we talk about Ranggong fishing. A spreader or a Ranggong is very easy to use, but because of its extremely long leader, the angler has to be very observant of his surroundings. Otherwise, his lines will get entangled easily with other anglers, especially when the boat is drifting. So for this, right, Ranggong is preferred when the boat is anchored. We only give it a 4 points for the ease of use. Ranggong can present the bait in its most natural form, such as live fish, octopus, and squid. They can swim around freely without any hindrance from the terminal tackle. So for this, we'll give it a full 5 points. And because of it's so excellent in its presentation, it can target almost any species of fish in the sea. So for the varieties of fish you can target, it is also the full 5 points. And as for the cost wise, Ranggong is relatively cheap. It is maybe about $2 a piece. and you can use it many times until it got stuck somewhere among the rocks. So for this, we'll give it 4 points. Overall, Ranggong is a classic and a very effective fishing method for giants. You can use bait as big as you like, but the area that the angler requires has to be spacious so that the long leader will not entangle with other anglers' line. So with proper coordination among the anglers on board, this is the best fishing method for you to get your trophy fish. Lastly, we look at Madai fishing. Similar to Tenya, Madai requires only 1 knot to set up. But the main difference is, for Madai, it is much easier to set the hook in compared to Tenya. So for this, the ease of use is the full 5 points. Presentation wise, it sort of imitates a octopus grabbing onto a live prawns. The plastic strands is very seductive to predators. However, generally only bigger fish will be attracted to it. So for this, we only give it 4 points. As for the varieties of fish that it can target mostly bottom fish. It is not so effective for pelagics. So similar to Tenya, it is only 3 points. Cost-wise, due to the amount of materials that goes into making a Madai, it is also quite expensive. It is about the same as Tenya, so for the points-wise, also the same, 2 points. Overall, Madai is a very effective method to target bottom fish that feeds on big bait. It is also useful during strong current because it is heavier due to its lead content, but then you'll feel a pinch when you lost your Madai to the rocks. We have summarized the characteristics of the 4 bottom fishing techniques. It doesn't mean the more points added up for a single technique, that method is better. The points are just guidelines for you to decide what type of fishing to use under different types of fishing conditions. For example, if I'm drifting over a coral patch whereby my line will get snagged easily, I will choose the cheapest method, which is Apollo. If I'm drifting over an area that has a lot of small fish, I will use Tenya to increase my hit rate. If the situation is when the boat is anchored and I want to use big bait to target big fish, I will use Ranggong. And lastly, when I'm drifting over an area whereby there are a lot of fish that likes to eat bigger bait, I will use Madai. So there is no single method that can be applied everywhere effectively. We have learned a lot from this experiment and I hope that you did too. If you find this video helpful, please like and share. I'm Captain Q from Wanderlust Adventures. See you on board.